For your delight and delectation, I have got one novel today because I really want to give it its due recognition. I'm going to talk about Ella Baxter's Woo Woo. Woo Woo is Ella's second novel. I just love that title. It makes me go woohoo and woo, sort of, there's a wolf howl in this novel, and when you read it, you'll get what I'm talking about. Ella's first novel, New Animal, came out of nowhere for me. And this is something that Ella Baxter does. She sort of comes at us left of field and for me, and kind of moves the earth beneath your feet in a way. So you're sort of going, oh my God, what is this? It was so funny. And she writes into this territory of what you might not feel you're going to be entirely comfortable with, but it's always sensitive and precise and original, and you're laughing and you're horrified and you're sort of like half appalled. And Woo Woo was in many ways no different, but basically there's our main character, Sabine, is a performance artist, and Sabine is married in her late 30s, middle to late 30s, and she has a very supportive husband, Constantine, who is a chef. You feel at the sort of definitely on the rise, and probably at the I'm not going to say the pinnacle of his career, but his career is taking off. But Ella's career also, she's been working, Ella. I do conflate Ella and Sabine for a very good reason, and we'll get to that in a minute. Sabine's whole, she's been painting or performing for 10 or so years, has got some recognition, has got some funding, and this is the cause of some of the things that happened to her. In the lead up to a show, as we find out, artists are not always incredibly stable, and Sabine is no exception. One of the things that you kind of feel, and I think must feel, about Sabine is that she is outrageously narcissistic and egotistical and self-absorbed and self-involved, and she live streams her performances and has followers, and they half the time don't seem to get what she's talking about, but they all think she's really authentic, and do they? And we're in this realm of superficiality and authenticity. And her kind of mood swings, shall we say, she is not just mercurial, she's quite bonkers. It's Constantine who's got to kind of mop up a bit after her and keep her on the straight and narrow, and even the gallery owner, all of the people who are in her sort of sphere make these comments, which I found very illuminating, about how artists on in that week leading up to a big exhibition can lose the plot entirely. And you don't know with Sabine in this story. If I'm still conflating Ella and Sabine, bear with me. Um, in the lead up, things begin to fall apart, and you never really know if we're dealing with kind of a psychotic sort of behavior, or if this is just entirely normal for artists because they're all bonkers. Sorry to all artists. Sabine is being stalked. And this is why I conflate Ella and Sabine a little bit, I think, is that Ella Baxter has said that this was something that did actually happen to her, and she's kind of channeled that into her story. And some of this stalking will be affecting her state of mind. And we never really know, her entourage never really knows what's true and what isn't. And I think this is what one of the things Baxter wants to talk about is performance. What is performance? What is art? Like, get this into one novel. What can you do in the name of art? Why would people not believe it? Sabine is haunted by, at least, is it a projection? Is it a haunting by the ghost of the great American performance artist, Carol Lee Schneemann. And there's a lot of chat about what the body does, what the female body is and does. So it's linking what it is to be woman, what it is to be objectified? How can you do that to yourself? How do you perform to la 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 to camera? What is true? Why, and if you're telling your husband and your followers that somebody is actually stalking and you're looking at it, why are they looking at it as performance art? And have you done this to yourself? And how mental can this whole story get? It was an absolute paroxysm of madness and delight, but always underneath this, Baxter, I think, is dealing with very um, sort of significant themes. I know we're being made to sort of like laugh, and it's incredibly satirical and witty, but we're all the time being asked to look at this question of what's acceptable behavior, what is performance, how much of everything that Sabine is doing is a performance for her husband, is a performance for her followers, how much of art criticism is just how the words sound. And, are we going to clap something that we think is what the absolute, in the name of heaven, are we looking at? And how do we prop up fragile egos? But even though you sometimes feel, oh my God, Sabine just is so frustratingly annoying, I want to give her a good shaking or a reset. At the same time, Baxter allows us to look at the vulnerability. And I felt that this um, contrast was what made it touching, um, a very lovely read in many ways, and also incredibly mental. It was the most fantastic convulsion of literature. And you just got to read it. It's amazing. That's it for this one. I'll see you again soon.